let's just think about the big picture, the brand of LeBron. It sort of matters. If he stays in Cleveland and loses to Kyrie in Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, bad look for the brand. You're no longer the man, not even in the East. If he gets past Boston but loses to Golden State again in the finals, bad look for the brand. Dude, how many of those finals have you lost? I mean, MJ was 6 for 6. I mean, what, are you going to go like 3-20? Bad look for the brand. If you bolt Cleveland and leave them high and dry, that ain't great for the brand either. Doug Gottlieb said yesterday on Speak for Yourself, he said, allowing yourself to be traded to the Lakers would not be a terrible thing.
There's two ways to go here. Either you force Dan Gilbert to trade that number one, that top pick that you got from Brooklyn, right? And if you do so, you're going to leave nothing except bad contracts behind.
What?
But if you get traded, now all of a sudden you're going to leave. You're like, look, I left, they traded me, and I left them with their pick and with some other players in return.
It's not a bad idea. You allow Cleveland to get something. The Lakers would give you Julius Randle, Jordan Clarkson, something, starters, something. There's no expectations if you go to the Lakers mid-season. Nobody expects you to walk into that roster. They're about 6 games out of a playoff spot. Maybe you could get them to the 8th seed. It'd be a win. And third is, then you spend the next 3.5 months recruiting Paul George. Win, win, win. I mean, listen, you can also make the argument Chris Broussard did yesterday, is that going to the West has always been in LeBron's plans.
LeBron has no appetite for getting back to the finals and getting crushed. He won't be as motivated as he should be, and as a result, the players will feed off of that negatively. You should wait till 2019, in my opinion, because the landscape will be much clearer. Like the Lakers. Okay, if you wait till 2019, you'll know what those young kids are more than you do now. Or Philadelphia, Joel Embiid. If you go now, you'll say, is he going to stay healthy? If you wait till 2019, maybe you'll be able to see, okay, 2 full seasons, Embiid's been healthy. I could go there and help them.
Listen, I don't think the Lakers and allowing yourself to be traded is bad for the brand. Losing to Kyrie's bad for the brand. Losing to the Warriors is bad for the brand. Bolting Cleveland's bad for the brand. Sit down with Dan Gilbert. Trade me to L.A., and you know what it'll be? It'll be the forgotten second half. I mean, Michael Jordan had a year he broke his leg. He retired twice. We call him the greatest of all time. LeBron's been on this 14-year escalator, right? Okay, then he has a year that it goes down a little. And then next year, Lakers, Paul George, LeBron James, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma. I don't think it's a terrible idea. So when you look at the Cleveland mess right now, we got a Kardashian in the clubhouse. We got a 5'8" guard that can't shoot. We got an owner nobody likes. We got a rookie GM. But most people are saying, LeBron, this is your mess. Who do you blame?
Okay, well, people that are saying, LeBron, this is your mess, simply don't know what they're talking about. LeBron's the only reason the Cleveland Cavaliers are not the Cleveland Browns, and Dan Gilbert has forgotten that. Who do I blame? I blame the guy who has ruined this entire season, and that is the owner, Dan Gilbert, who decided he wanted to play fantasy GM this year. Let me just do a quick little history lesson for the audience. LeBron, when he went back to Cleveland, did not trust Dan Gilbert. He signed a 1-year deal. Used that leverage to make sure they signed Tristan Thompson. How did that work out? Oh, he was a key component to them winning the title. He then signed another 1-year deal because he did not trust Dan Gilbert. How did that work out? Oh, they ended up winning the title. After winning the title, LeBron says, okay, I'll sign a 2+1, a 2-year deal. How does Dan Gilbert respond? Immediately in the offseason, first offseason where LeBron can't leave. He does not bring back David Griffin. He goes against LeBron's wishes and trades away Kyrie Irving. Finds out he traded away Kyrie Irving for more damaged goods than they had first thought, to the point to where they can void the trade. LeBron tells them to void the trade. He won't do that either. Lets the trade go through. Has done nothing at the trade deadline. And has become buddies with underdog Isaiah Thomas, who has been the single worst player in the NBA this year. That's not opinion. That's just fact.
Yeah, he's the lowest ranked. He's the lowest ranked defensive player in the history of the league. It is in the last 25 years. Isaiah Thomas, I believe, is the lowest ranked defensive player currently.
On the bright side, he's shooting 23% from three. So, and by the way, he's inside the locker room after being there for 6 weeks, accusing other players of sports treason. So that's fun as well. But Dan Gilbert always considered himself some underdog, not quite sure why, but he did. And so he and Isaiah Thomas have become buddies. This is what LeBron was always afraid of. I show any trust, any loyalty to Dan Gilbert, and this happens to me. Yet, despite that, LeBron won't abandon ship. I'm not a reporter, Colin, but I sometimes do some reporting. I reported this on First Things First this morning. I now can tell you and your audience. I know for a fact one of the leading NBA title contenders in this league tried to trade for LeBron this week, and LeBron wouldn't waive the no-trade clause. Why? Because he doesn't want to abandon Cleveland mid-year. Somehow people are going to turn that into LeBron being something other than a good guy trying to win a title in Cleveland. I'm not sure the mental gymnastics it will take, but I know some will take it because the answer to all their questions has to be it's LeBron's fault, as opposed to LeBron's been the solution. And one last thing on Dan Gilbert, who wants to keep this sacred Brooklyn pick. Oh my God, the 7th pick of the draft. How do you win titles in this league? You have a top 20 all-time player. That's the way it's been done in the last 40 years for every single title team except for the Detroit Pistons. All of them have had a top 20 all-time player. You have one right now. You are squandering your last best chance to win a title so you can end up with the 7th overall pick. Makes a lot of sense. It makes sense to no one, but Dan Gilbert wants to be the NFL's Jerry Jones. He's just left out the win 3 titles in your first decade of ownership part of it.
Nick Wright, it's so good to have a common sense approach. Most of my guests yell and scream at me. You scream with me, and I certainly appreciate it. For the record, in Los Angeles today, it's a chilly 72. What's the weather in New York?
That's what people do in Los Angeles. They always bring up the weather because, you know, there's not, 78 of the world's greatest museums, a place called Central Park. I'm a New York acolyte now, Colin. You're not going to get me on this weather crap. And by the way, it's snowing.
The Cavs lost to the Magic last night. The Magic, if you didn't hear me, 116-98. And the Cavs were up by 21 points at one point in the game. So they blew a 21-point lead. And this is all around LeBron James saying that he will not waive his no-trade clause this season.
Right.
And he's saying that's because he feels like he owes it to his teammates to finish out the year.
Yeah.
Just got to keep pushing. I mean, you can stay positive. You know, for me, I'm staying positive and, you know, just trying to figure out ways we can be better. You know, what units work well for us on the floor. How we can be more productive, how someone can pick someone up when they're struggling. You know, it's been tough because we have, you know, a few guys that's been struggling as of late. You want to try to pick them up and not lose your own individual ability to help the team. So, you know, it's no time to, to throw shade about our season. We got to continue to be positive and continue to push forward.
They are third.
Got quite a few games left, and you know, if we, still serious about the season, then we got to, play some good ball, at some point.
By the way, they are still third in the East. As bad as they are, they're still third in the East.
It doesn't matter. But continue to stay positive? In what world has LeBron been positive recently?
Everybody's going to talk about LeBron because he's the superstar of the league. By the way, is it me or is Isaiah Thomas a mess?
Well, wouldn't you be too? I mean, the Cavs are a mess.
Yeah, but he's shooting 272 players in the NBA have taken 180 shots.
Okay.
Isaiah Thomas ranks 270th. He can't shoot anymore.
Well, he's coming off a serious
injury. I know,
injury.
But he's terrible.
But he's also got probably a lot in his head right now. This is not the situation he thought he would be in. The Cavs are all fighting with each other.
Can he just hit a jumper occasionally?
He's worried about Kevin Love, whether he's sick or he's not sick. I just found it very interesting that LeBron was reminding everyone to continue to stay positive as if they had been positive recently. And that brings me to my last story. This is not something positive that LeBron was doing. Apparently, in that meeting, that team meeting where they questioned whether or not Kevin Love was actually sick, LeBron cursed and blew up at executives in that meeting.
Yeah.
And this is because the Cavs have been noticeably pivoting away from LeBron's recommendations. And they used to consult with him and inform him of major roster decisions, but that is no longer happening, which could maybe explain why LeBron's been having some temper tantrums lately, because he's not getting his way.
Well,
but why should he get his way if he's not staying?
Well, he's the best player in the world, so they usually get their way.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.